The first hour in the morning, I don't look at anything on the internet. Every morning, clean sheet of paper, I start with my three top projects that I'm working on and five things I need to do to achieve them.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Work Smarter and Lead Stronger podcast, the show where we go deep on how real leaders build trust, systems, and teams that actually deliver. I am your host, Timmy, and today we have a guest who is so dear to me, first of all. I just want to say that. He's my dear Uncle Tom. I promised myself that I'll be very professional on this podcast, but I can't. Uncle Tom just and his wife Auntie Mary just fill my heart with so much joy. I would say when I look back, they're probably one of my first mentors, and I love following on Uncle Tom's journey on LinkedIn. I'm always cheering him on. He's always doing really amazing things, and I think this podcast is going to be gold. So today we have Tom O'Connor. And he is a very special guest whose engineering leadership spans decades and continents. So he has over 30 years of experience in high purity gas purification process systems and over 20 years in high temperature thermal process systems. Like when it comes to this stuff, Tom O'Connor is the man. He truly is such a genius in his field of work, honestly. And even with his genius, he's also such a humble person. That is one thing I admire about him. He's such a great leader in the fact that he's so humble, even with what he has accomplished in his field of work. Honestly, guys, if I call him Uncle Tom, just take it like that. When Uncle Tom isn't, ruling the chemical, what should I call it? Chemical industry? Chemical, what's the word for it, Uncle Tom?
The industrial gas industry, yeah, it's our with it.
He's also great at Taekwondo. He started it only a few years ago and he's already a black belt.
I'm a black belt. Yeah, on my way to first degree.
And that's in 5 years. So when I say he's a master at many things, he really is. Uncle Tom, welcome to the show.
Uh, Thank you so much, Timmy.
Thank you for joining us today. Let's start with productivity. With everything on your plate, what systems or habits help you keep your week on track?
Well, basically, the first hour in the morning, I don't look at anything on the internet.
Mm.
And so I have a system where every morning, clean sheet of paper, I start with my three top projects that I'm working on and five things I need to do to achieve them. Now, these projects are important projects. They're also not necessarily the most fun I want to do, but these are important projects. And then I make a list of who I need to reach out to, and I reach out to them. These are people who I need something from. I have a list of 1 to 5 people. Who do I need to reach out to? And then I have another column over here, people who I should be hearing from. And afternoon, if I don't hear from them by noon, then I reach out to them again. And at the bottom of the page, I have, okay, what absolutely top 5 things have to get done this day? There's some overlap between the 3 projects, what's down there. Then for the next hour, I work on those projects before I, once again, interface with the internet or even receive emails or anything.
Mm.
So that really launches the day with a lot of focus. I make a solid, probably hour and a half into my highest priority things for the day.
That's really great. I can imagine you're taking off so much already at the beginning so you don't feel stressed. You know how
Exactly.
people when they drag, it's like a weight on their shoulders that they're
Mhm.
dragging throughout the day, but you're what we call eating the frog. You're eating the frog early. And I like that you also said you're not using the internet. That means you're focused. That also helps you accomplish so much in just the hour and a half versus
Mhm.
if you're multitasking and you're browsing on the internet or responding to emails, you probably won't get as much done in the hour and a half. So
Exactly.
it's a really
You've
great
heard the
strategy.
saying that your email inbox is other people's assignment for your life. That they
That is a quote. So true, so true. Wow, that is really good.
But if I could add, it's also a very creative time. And part of that is I get a pretty consistent take 8 hours of sleep. Probably about 10 years ago, I was getting 5.5 hours of sleep, maybe 6, and I started to shift to cognitive science, kinda studying it, that if you get more rest, you'll be more creative. And so what I found, when I working with multiple teams in a company, that I have 3 groups that I need to satisfy: the client, my colleagues, and my suppliers. Prior to maximizing my sleep and entering this process I'm talking about, basically, I would think, okay, I'm going to try this, but then I have to go talk to the customer. And then I'll come back and what they come in, I'll talk to here. What was happening after doing this, after incrementally adding an hour to my sleep and then 2 hours, I would go through this session and I would come up with an idea. And I think, well, the client will be okay with that. My colleagues are going to be okay. And my suppliers are going to be okay. So I will reach a crystallization quicker. So I saw the benefit of that it did increase my productivity.
Wow. So can you tell us what time do you go to bed now?
Normally go at definitely by 10.
Okay. Wow. Goals. I would love to be like you in many ways. I'm adding that to my list of reasons I want to be like you. That is amazing. So, what's something you used to believe about leadership that you've completely changed your mind about over the years?
Oh my goodness. Okay. I think this falls into leadership because you're trying to lead people. One of the things to explain to a group, to a team, an analogy. I used to use analogies. And no matter how good I thought that analogy was, eyes would still be glazed over. But but I now understand in a lot of my career why I spent a lot of time on analogies were great with the team members that were already on board, but the other ones like, why is he talking about fish? There's other things to do, but analogies are like parables.
Hmm.
Parables work with disciples. Parables work if somebody already is like, You're my captain. Could you explain it to me a little bit more?" From a leadership standpoint, realize that probably your analogies are only helping the people that already are inclined to absolutely agree with you.
Oh, that's really good. So, you noticed that it was just leaving people out, and that's why you changed the strategy. And that's the mark of a good leader, too, right? Being inclusive. What do you do instead to make sure everyone's on board?
Okay, find other ways. That's rule number 1. So what do I do differently? I'll do one-on-ones individually with people. I have an overall system. It's my own. I should date this so that I want to work out a book for this called The Chemical Engineer's Orbital Thin Orbital Spin Theory of Sales. Some people have written books called How to Get to Yes. Now, I'm meeting with somebody who really wasn't receptive. So now this is the orbital spin theory of sales. Even before I go to the big meeting with a group of 12 people from 4 departments, and I have a new engineer I'm working with, I said, let's meet with that individual personally in the design department. Just an informal chat. Let them know the top 3 things they're doing and see what they think. And they'll come back with the following scenarios. Like it, like it, like it. Great, let's go. That's one. Another one is I don't like it, and here's why. And so then we respond one of 2 ways. But wait, we've already thought about that, and we're thinking this will solve that. Does that satisfy you? They could say yes or no. Okay. So, but if it's, we don't have the answer to satisfy that department, before we talk to any other departments, we go back to the drawing board and, and we'll tell them that is an excellent concern. We will go back and work on that before we advance further. We get it, and then we go back to see them again one-on-one. So picture their orbitals, their electrons are spinning away, and they're not going the way we want. Like this. So after we get back with them and they're fine, boom. Okay, so then we go to the process department, then we go to the factory department. So there's normally about 3 or 4 groups. Then we get to the big meeting with the CEO there and everybody, and it's called sales release meetings. And normally these meetings are where my colleagues in comparable positions will go in without doing any of this. Meetings would get shut down, go back, you got work to do. So the first one with him, even the people in my group who are maybe not as articulate as some, we practice, practice, and practice because they were going to be called on. And we wanted to come up with more answers and questions we were going to see. So then we got into the meeting, and it's an hour meeting. At the end of 25 meetings, everyone was signing off. And the CEO said, "Hey, before you go, hey, come over here for a minute." He says, "I've never seen anything like this. How did this happen?" So we did the orbital spin theory of sales, and it's so much easier doing it one-on-one groups than everybody in a meeting together.
So people don't feel defensive, right? Because you've taken their opinions into consideration separately. There's that respect. Respect is so important. People feel valued. They're like, okay, your team came to me first to hear my thoughts, to take my feedback and to see how you can work the feedback into whatever the proposal is. Right? I can imagine such a meeting afterwards, right? Going so well, as opposed to, going up in flames.
Hey, can I say this just another experience that have similar to this, just to add this in? Okay, so I don't know if I should mention the name of the company. This is on the gas purification side. Earlier in my career, after graduating from college, a couple of years, I wanted to be on the front end dealing with customers. And if I mention the name of the company, they're not a household name because they don't sell to the public, but anybody in the industry knows who they are. Big corporation. And so I went to their place, and it was beautiful. I went along with one of our senior engineers, sales engineer. I thought I was entering a beautiful hotel, the very classy corporation. So ultimately, that became my account because I wanted to start handling this. One of the 2 companies in the world that our company was not involved with yet. And so down the road, it was a hydrogen purification anyway project where there were probably 14 people in the room. They could not have a meeting with less than 10 people. Then the meeting starts. I give my introduction speech, and I know what's happening is the person, ultimately the decision maker, is looking around the room and he's seeing a few heads go,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, we can trust
and the questions start, and somebody asks it's an objection question. Well, the group we already talked about this to, they said, mm-hmm.
him.
So this went on for about 40 minutes. And at the end, he sees what's happening in the room. You have half the people in the room who have not prepared for the meeting, and they're not sure which side we should go on. Okay. So they're like, well, it looks like it's safe if I agree with it, right? So ultimately, we have 100% within 45 minutes. The person running the meeting says, well, looks like we have pretty good consensus here. Right? Look, take the next step.
Going ahead of the discomfort. I think sometimes we avoid it. That's why people just wait for the meeting. But getting ahead of it is so important. When it comes to accountability, you're talking about that list of people. So how do you hold them accountable while still giving them autonomy?
Okay. I'm a huge person to mentor and allow people to empower themselves and grow. And so, like in a group with maybe 5 application engineer in a company, for example, one engineer would come in and I say, here's your assignment. You're the application engineer on this project that I'm quoting on. Overview of responsibility for technical customer relation and this. And I said, okay, do you have any questions? I answered the questions. I said, 3 iterations. I believe in the power of 3. Okay, so go back, advance it, and then come back and let's review it a second time. Then we do it a third time. So good idea, good idea. And then I said, now we're ready to talk. Remember what I talked about before, group number 1. Then we're going to go to number 2. She started doing that and she became a rock star in about a year or so. There were other people in the group that were like,
It's not going to work.
and that person was entering meetings where it didn't go well, the ultimate thing. So after about a year, he said, maybe I should ask you for help. So I think you gotta let people, you can't just tell them everything. You let them grow and do it and then work together and they come up with great creative ideas.
Experience is the best teacher. We can only tell them so much.
Yeah, you can lead a horse to water. You can give it oats and salt it, but they still have to drink the water themselves.
You still have your analogies.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
I caught you. Oh my goodness. Okay, so you've worked across various time zones. You were telling me about how you had a meeting, was it in China at 7 a.m.? And when you were telling me the story, I was just thinking, I wonder what the jet lag must have been for you to have been in China and had a meeting at 7 a.m. But that's not what the question is about. So you've worked across different time zones, languages, cultures, industries, you name it, right? What is your biggest challenge when it comes to leading in a distributed team environment?
I'm going to answer the question in this regard. Idea of working across different time zones, countries, and different things. First off, I travel very well. I've traveled with colleagues that never have slept on airplanes, and they get real mad at me because even on short flights, I'll take an hour nap. And just in terms of working in countries where English is not the first language, made a point of learning how to say thank you in the local language. Because when they give you $1 million contract, at least try to say thank you in the local language. That goes over real big. But it comes down to people. And so even though you're maybe remote or this or that, you have to find a way to have a personal connection.
Yeah.
So bottom line is we need to connect and we need to treat people well, find common ground. You want to come to something where it's a win-win, where you're there, you want them to win, you want to win. It's not a win-lose type situation. But if you have team members that are not performing, in terms of efficiency, I will go to a technique. First off, I teach people in my groups, send the email to the person that you need to send it to. Don't send a group email. Go see people. Oh, okay, so what can that mean? Say you're working from home or different things. What it may mean is call the person directly. You may not be able to see them in person or have a FaceTime, but try to do the one-on-ones.
It's great that you mentioned having a common ground and just remembering that you're talking to a human, finding that human touch point. Sometimes maybe pick up the phone. Yeah,
Mhm.
those are really good. So we're going to move on to our lightning round.
Okay.
So nice, short as long as you want. This is your stage. Let's start with the first one. How do you reset and refocus when things feel overwhelming at work?
I just turn everything off wherever I am. Lately, I've been watching some good K-dramas.
Really? You continue to surprise me.
Okay, so I deal with a lot in Korea, uh, which has got a tremendous production capability for the industry now. So K-drama doesn't necessarily mean drama. It could be whatever you want. It's what they call their series. Their production value is so incredible. Netflix has a tremendous number of them. It could be a comedy, it could be this, it could be that. Wherever I am, I'm going to watch an hour of ancient Korean clans and stuff like that, or it could be modern day, whatever. So that could be one of the
I
things.
love that.
But turn it off. Turn it off. When it gets to the point, you just turn it off. Compartmentalize and then do something that you enjoy.
So important. Just turn it off. Walk away.
Then get those 8 hours later.
Amen. Note to self. So, what is your biggest meeting pet peeve?
Meetings where nobody's prepared for the meeting.
Oh, people just show up and hope for the
Yeah,
best.
yeah, 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 yeah.
What's one productivity hack that has actually worked for you?
Well, I would probably first go to that morning routine.
I figured, yeah.
That's huge, setting for the day. Let's say you're really maybe to the point where you need to step away from something a little bit. Just quietly put on some meditative music in a conference somewhere, if you're in a meeting or wherever, just for 5 minutes, just breathe and chill. If it's getting tense, you're normally not breathing. You're tensing up and you're doing short breathing.
Being more intentional and making sure you're actually getting those deep breaths in is very important.
Yeah, make a little note. You're going to do that like once an hour or something.
Like
If
a
you're
reminder on your
get up
phone.
and walk, go to get some water,
Yeah.
take a break. Don't sit there for 3 hours straight.
Do you like cameras on or off in virtual meetings?
I like them on. Absolutely. It increases communication.
What is the best advice you've ever received about collaboration?
Give to get. What does the client want? What does the colleague want? And can you give it to them? Okay. And then you share with them, here's what I'd like. And if it's a supplier, for example, you're a great supplier. You're our preferred supplier, but we need you to be done here. And we can proceed based on a relationship. But if you can't do that, then we got to go elsewhere. Give them a choice, giving people a choice.
Mm.
If it comes down to that, it's kind of like a trade.
So you've been a leader forever, as long as I've known you, and I've known you for a while. What's one nugget you could give to our audience when it comes to leadership that they can take away?
Be competent.
Be competent.
I'm talking to the technical people. Don't just say, okay, I got my degree and I know what that is. Every time you look at something, how can it be applied better? Get involved with things on the side, join clubs where you're advancing technology. So I would recommend in engineering, really, really be the person. In other words, know as much or more than anybody in terms of the core technology that you're selling. Now, if it's something else, the proficiency may go over to accounting. It may go over to other things. Be really good at what you do. You're probably doing it because you get energized by doing it. So, yeah, that's my core thing. Yeah.
Thank you so, so much, Uncle Tom. This has been such an incredible conversation. Honestly, you really inspire me. Like, I'm not just saying that, you really do. And that's why I reached out. I'm like, I
Thank
need
you.
to have you on this podcast. Like, from
Yeah.
your global experience to your technical debt and your people first approach, like, I'm going to talk about you being my uncle, and people are going to be like, we don't see the resemblance. I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? So, just a little background for everyone. When I was in university, went to the same church. We would pick like all the university students up. And I feel like you were a VP then. I remember you were in like some sort of senior leadership. And that is humility for a VP, to ride this little church van and you just pick up all these college kids who don't really know what they're doing, but at least they're showing up at church on Sunday. And then, he'll take us to his home with his beautiful wife and, they'll make us a meal. And I can't tell you, Uncle Tom, and I'm getting emotional, but like just those seeds, like the impact that you have made in my life, those seeds have made. So you're part of why I'm such a great leader. So thank you. I'm not going to crown the podcast. It's supposed to be a LinkedIn podcast. It's not a K-drama podcast. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
But can you tell the audience, please, how can people connect with you? Where can they find you?
I'm doing things at the university to help students. Find me on LinkedIn, and I use my middle initial G, so I'm Thomas G. O'Connor, and you could find me on there. And so they connect, and then they send me the resumes, and I can start reviewing it. So LinkedIn is probably the best way, and then I can give like my Gmail afterwards, or my company one, which has got a lot of letters in it, so it's easier.
It's
To have a
okay.
link.
You just share all the links with me and I'll put
Yeah.
them in the show notes for people so they can click on it.
Okay.
When you say you review resumes, what do you review them for?
I give them, once again, normally 3 iterations. I'll take it, I'll print it out. I like to get paper so I can make notes on it. And, I look at what jumps out for me, because I, have worked with a lot of people, hired a lot of people. And so I'll take the first sheet and I'll just have a cup of coffee, just sip, and I'll just kind of go over it and maybe make a couple notes. And then, I'll tell the student maybe it belongs in your email, not on the thing. So normally I just see things that jump out at me that would be good to emphasize. It's very light duty, and then help understand what their vision
Awesome.
is, they like to do, and then to include certain things in the, specific email.
That is so helpful. Oh my goodness. You're helping people in so many different ways. It's help that they might not be able to find elsewhere. But thank you so much once again. So for everyone tuning in, I am sure you got a lot from this episode. Please just be sure to follow the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. I'll be back soon with more insights from leaders like my Uncle Tom, who are shaping work and lead in today's team. Until next time.